Angel, King of Mediocrity Martinez, joined by my one and only co-host, the naturally athletic Galaxian Eddie Nags. Eddie, say hello to the people at home.
What up, everyone? Hope everyone's doing good. Happy Saturday. Happy quarantine.
Happy quarantine indeed. Welcome everybody to Layman's Word, where we talk all things that we know absolutely nothing about. Today we are joined by two gun enthusiasts. Please give a warm welcome to Giorgio Trevino and Diego Sarabia.
What's
Welcome,
up,
gentlemen.
fellas? What's up,
Welcome, welcome.
everybody? How y'all doing?
Howdy.
We're good. We're good, man. We're good. Excited to get this going. Excited to get educated right here. I got my red cap in the back. I'm gonna maybe I'll throw it on after this.
Which one?
uh,
I said, Mas puto?
You've
First
seen
of
it.
all, thank you very much to our guests who are joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedules to make this podcast. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you guys. Let's start off by asking a very simple question. Let's let everybody know. Obviously, by my background, we can only be talking about one thing, and that is guns in America. That's it. That's what we're talking about today. We want to discuss a few things with you guys, and just kind of pick your brains, because really, as much as experience as I have, I don't really know too much about guns and weapons. So I wanted to find a couple people that knew significantly more than I, to come in here and give us a little insight on what it's like to be a gun enthusiast in this climate. So if you don't mind, Diego, let me open it up to you first. Let me ask you, what interests you the most about gun ownership?
Well, since I was young, I've always had friends that have owned firearms. So as I got older, I've always been exposed to them. I was able to shoot them when I was younger. I was able to hold them. But to physically own one legally, it was always like, oh, maybe one day, maybe one day. And then, when I was about 25, I was like, you know what? It's about time I own my own firearm. I'm old enough, I'm mature enough, I'm responsible enough that I'm going to go apply for my FSC. And I went ahead and did it. It was
Nice.
just something I was always exposed to. I just want to have my own legally to be able to own and possess.
Okay. All right. Georgia, what about you, sir? What interested you the most about gun ownership, and how did you decide to be an enthusiast?
Well, I learned how to shoot when I was in the Boy Scouts. Started when I was
Yo,
shooting BB guns. So I'm teaching my son now shooting BB guns. And then,
nice.
shooting up to 22s when you became a Boy Scout. And then everybody in my family always had firearms. My grandpa had a gun. He owned businesses, so he always had a gun. My dad, unfortunately, was a cholo, so he had a gun.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
But whatever. I've always been around them. I've always seen guns. Everybody's had guns. To me, it's
Yeah.
just cool. It's like having a car. You're like,
Right.
oh, nice
A rite of
car.
passage.
I did this. It's you have one. So
Right on.
right around the same age, I bought a gun too at 25. Um, I went to pawn shop. My wife, she was my girlfriend then. We would go to the pawn shop and buy jewelry. Buy gold, buy whatever. And I saw a shotgun there, and they wanted $200 for it, and I was like, I'll take it. And I thought it was like back then where you go pay for it, walk out with it. And then I
Right.
realized, you got to take a FSC test, which is a firearm safety test, and then you got to wait 10 days, a cool off period, in case you're buying a gun because you're angry and you want to kill somebody.
Oh,
So you got to
shit.
10 days.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So whatever grudge you have, they expect you to get over it in 10 days. Sick.
Yeah, pretty.
I don't know, man. I've been through some crazy breakups, and I think I need more than 10 days, to get over
Can't
those
hold
breakups.
grudges
At day 11, I'm
for
still
more
ready.
than 10 days.
I still see some Instagram stories now where I'm like,
Fuck
oh,
you.
fucking whore. Well, all right. Well, that's interesting. No, that's pretty crazy. I didn't know that there was a cool off period. So there's something that I learned today. But that does present a good. It's pretty good. That sounds like a safe measure, right? You're trying to keep everybody from just going out there buying up guns and killing one another, right? That's not the purpose. But let me ask you this question: what is to you personally the most important part about owning a firearm? And let me open up to Georgia this time first. What's the most important part to you about owning your own firearm?
Well, it's the same reason I own a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
I'm not going to wait
Safety.
4 or 5 minutes for somebody to show up to save me. I have the ability
Right.
to save myself.
Nice. Independence. That's good.
For wild game, and I eat it.
Ooh.
So I could do it with a bow and arrow. I could do it with a gun. Gun's a little easier. But it was written in our Constitution that we should all have guns for protection, for hunting, for militia, if we ever needed to. Which, whatever, a whole different show conversation. Right. The thing is that it's our right to do so, and if you want to do so, you can buy one. If you don't buy one. It's like you have the freedom of speech. Do you speak your mind all the time? You can, or you cannot. You exercise those rights. Essentially, what's happening, and I chose to exercise my right to own a gun.
Good man. I exercise my right to freedom of speech all the time. No one wants to hear what I fucking have to say, but I exercise it anyway. How about you, Diego? What is the most important part for you in regards to gun ownership?
Well, you have to remember, no one owes you anything. You're responsible for your own safety, property, and your whatever you want to do in life. So in my retrospect, it's my family's in danger. By the time I call 911, and I grew up in the hood, I call 911, they're coming here in an hour and a half.
Right.
Listen, someone breaks into my house. It could be a crackhead. It could be someone trying to steal something. They might be armed. They might be not. Yeah. I would rather have the ability to protect my family and my own immediately than rely on the police officers to get here, which I understand they're doing the job, but listen, I'd rather do my place to protect my family and those that I love. So that's how it started. And then it evolved from there into I enjoy shooting. I got more into it. I started, getting into different aspects. You target shooting is okay, this is fun. So it started off from safety and being able to be the first responder that I needed to be for my family to something more fun, more as a
Okay. All right. Cool. So originally protection, right? Wanting to make sure that you are, your family's source of protection, and now it's become more of a leisurely type of situation where you're kind of tricking out your guns and buying extra. What is it? Attachments and things right? Because those are the things that make a firearm cool, right? Is all the small little add-ons. Because I have had very little experience, but I have had some with handguns, firearms, and things of that nature. And I have had base models, things that have nothing special about them. And then I've held really tricked out weapons. And dude, the softness of a trigger on something like that is intense. It's intense.
So you've held the Gucci Glock.
I mean, I've just my experience is very little, so I don't want to get the terminology wrong because I'm sure I'll butcher it. But yes,
Giorgio has one, right?
Have what, a Gucci?
A Gucci Glock?
No, I actually want to send mine into Terran Tactical Innovations. I don't know if you ever seen the.
Yeah, I've seen Terran Tactical.
With Keanu Reeves shooting up that range.
Yeah. Where he's doing all his John Wick setups. Yeah.
I have a Glock that I want to send in for him to do it, but it's $1,500.
Oh.
Do all that.
And that's on the low end.
Yeah, it is.
That's on the low end. Honestly, we call them Gucci Glocks because genuinely you can drop up to about $4 or $5 grand pimping out your gun.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's wild.
It's just doing it for the aesthetic.
Yeah, it's all aesthetic. It's like a showpiece. It's like a 1911 for the Paisans.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever watch Romeo and Juliet, like the live action?
Yeah, with
like the talking
yeah.
about the Virgin Mary on the pistol grip.
There you go.
Could it be?
Oh man, that's crazy stuff.
Dude,
I mean, I barely know how to pimp myself. I wouldn't know how to pimp a gun, to be honest with you.
Culture, and it's all preference. Some people want to go. What did we see? You can go red dot serrations, no serrations. You can do 3-pound triggers, 2.5, whatever you want. You know what I mean? Laser stippling, custom stippling, whatever you want. It's crazy. These words are foreign, but Giorgio gets it. You know what I mean?
So let me just jump in on one thing that you said. You said 3-pound trigger, 3.5-pound trigger. And what we're talking about is like pressure, right?
Or
Like the
pressure
pounds
weight,
of
yeah.
pressure that you put on the trigger itself before it fires off,
Shoot.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Yeah.
let me ask you this question: what is the highest, or what is the, I guess, the lowest pound pressure that you can put on a trigger?
As low as you can make it, but safely. I mean,
Yeah.
stock. Let's talk about Glocks. 'Cause, I mean, I think most everybody has shot a Glock or used a Glock or seen a Glock.
Pretty much.
Right.
That's across.
They're 5.5 stock.
Okay.
Pound variable, half pound heavier usually. If you go into competition Glock, like a Glock 34, that has a 4.5 pound trigger pull, which I think
Okay.
is perfect.
Okay.
But
Sweet
consider
spot.
the lighter trigger pull. If you don't practice good gun handling and you keep your finger on the trigger,
Or trigger discipline.
you have a little
Trigger
twitch,
discipline.
it's gonna fire.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why NYPD they have a 12-pound trigger pull on their
Oh
guns
shit.
because they had a lot of accidental shootings.
Wow.
A heavier pull, you got to use finger strength.
You got to really commit to that trigger pull.
And shaking, and that's why you have police officers who hit 2 rounds on a suspect out when they fired 15, right? So like they gotta
Right. Because they really, because they really got to put some force into it, the recoil, and then you got to reset and come back in there. It's not exactly like you have time between shots. You're trying to get those things going, so you're doing the best you can.
you can
I
be
could
super,
totally understand that now.
you can be super safe in the middle, or you could be super dangerous on the low end, or super dangerous on the high end. You know, too high of a
Right.
you're not gonna be able to pull the trigger and keep it straight the whole time. So I mean,
So when you customize it, you're looking at about what standard is 3.5 to 2.5, depending on what you like and the opinion of companies that you go with. But that's when you start going aftermarket. You've already practiced, you understand, you're gonna do competition shooting. But even that's a little. You have to understand, Glocks don't have safeties. So off the bat, you have a round in the chamber, or you're gonna have to rack your gun and be ready to shoot. It's
Wow.
not like
safety. They have internal. There's 3 internal safeties, which require you to be cognizant of where your finger is at all times. Finger
Right.
not on.
Right.
If you don't have your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot, you're fine.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's one of the first things that, I mean, again, haven't really shot too often. I've talked about my experience before. I don't think that I've talked about it on this show, but the only time that I've really been to a range and shot, my brother-in-law took me there. He put the sights out, was telling me about, my trigger discipline and keeping my finger out of there as much as possible, because that's literally the first thing I did when I picked it up. I picked it up and I slipped my index in there right away. He's like, get that out of there. I'm like, whoops, sorry. But that is definitely something that you need to train like on a regular basis. As kids, I don't know about you, Eddie, but as kids, the second that I would pick anything up that even resembled a gun, I immediately start faking, pulling a trigger. Like you pick up a Nerf gun, it's the first thing you do is you put you curl your finger around that trigger. But this is not a play. This is not a toy. This is a life and death, and you want to be careful. So trigger discipline is definitely of the highest training point, I would say. So that brings me to. Go ahead.
Dude, I still hover my finger over R2 when I play GTA, bro. I'm not ready.
That's good. I like that. That's great. But that brings me to my next question. I know that Jojo, you said that you trained, with Boy Scouts and whatnot. But past that, did you ever, take any other formal type of training, or have you been self-taught since then?
I wouldn't call training in the Boy Scouts training. It's just giving you a gun, telling you safety stuff, and shoot, have fun. I actually had to go pursue training myself, taking classes.
Okay.
They have 22 classes, like where you shoot a 22 rifle. It's called Appleseed shoot, like Johnny Appleseed. And
Okay.
they're training you to shoot the way the military shoots with the 22 rifle.
All right.
I've done that a few times. I've taken some pistol courses, and they're teaching you how to engage a target defensively and offensively. When you pay for those, usually about $700 per class, and then the cost of ammunition as well is not included. But yeah, I mean, I've taken 2 of those classes and I've learned a lot. I still feel like there's a lot more to learn. I mean, I don't want to go out there and be like super tactical or anything, but it's one of those things where it's like, if I had to defend myself,
Right.
do I know what to do? Like, am I getting nervous? And then beyond that, I compete. I do 3 gun competitions where you compete with pistol, rifle and a shotgun. And
Nice.
and I've trained with that Taron Butler. That guy's a beast.
Oh.
But I've gone on competitions with him and see him there, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to win at all. So I'm usually right in the middle of the grouping. So.
All right, right on. How about you, Diego?
I was fortunate enough that my mom's husband is ex-military.
Okay.
So he's really been hands-on with when I got started on it. He's like, you know what? I'll teach you the ins and outs of what I know. Whatever we don't know, we'll ask. We'll talk to a few of my friends. And he's been, more along the lines of the guide.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten as serious as Jojo to where I go into tournaments and I go compete. My thing's more of de-stressor. I go out, we get a couple thousand rounds. We go out to the middle of the desert. He builds some targets out of metal. We go out, we shoot, we have a good time. You come back, you're de-stressed. To me, it's not so much of a let's go out and compete. It's more of a all right, let's de-stress, understand the fundamentals, and worst comes to worst, you know how to handle yourself with the handgun. Even a rifle.
It's interesting to me that the different kind of ways that you guys deal with firearms, because I mean, on one hand, we're talking about protection and being able to protect our family, and then on the other hand, we're discussing that it's almost like a release, like a stress release. And I would never have thought to pair stress relieval with shooting a firearm. Like, to me, the first time I ever held a gun, that was stressful. That was a lot going on at one time, and I was a fucking adult. Like, I was a grown ass man, and I still found the whole situation. I mean, I sweat the entire time that we were doing that. Got the the soundproof things on. I'm sitting there, I've got somebody explaining something to me. I'm like, what I was just but Eddie, what about you, man? Have you ever held a gun? Have you ever shot at a range or anything of that nature?
Real quick, because you brought up about having the gun for protection. I have a question. Shout out to the chat. Manny in the chat asks, owning a gun for protection is good, but why would someone want to own a full automatic gun? 9mm or a shotgun can protect you.
You can own full auto in certain states, and it's the same reason people buy extremely fast cars that are 500 horsepower. There's reasons why people build their cars to go 1,000 horsepower, because you can go fast. If you've ever been to Vegas and gone to one of those machine gun stores and shot a full auto gun, it's addicting. I went on a bachelor party and I shot a full auto, and I swear to you, I was like, this is amazing. I need $30,000 to buy a full auto. They cost beginning maybe on the cheapest for a really shitty automatic gun, like $7,000.
Oh wow!
Or an M16, which is the AR-15 full auto equivalent, $30,000.
Wow.
No, that's a
car. Yeah.
Car. And once you shoot them, you're like, dude, this is fun. People are using these. If you look up Big Sandy, there's a big shoot every year in San Diego, or not San Diego, Arizona. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Sandy in San Diego, but Big Sandy in Arizona, they have a machine gun shoot. You can go over there and rent a gun, shoot it. Everybody's shooting their guns into the desert, full auto, mad minute. Everything's going crazy, and it's fun. Same reason some people drive fast. The freeways are empty right now. People are driving fast. It's exhilarating. Fun. Can everybody own one? No, you do have to go through background checks. You pay taxes on that. You got to wait months before you could actually take your gun home.
Wow.
It's much more stricter than just buying a handgun. But can you own for home defense? Yeah, you can. It's not the best option. I mean, you got to be able to control that thing. Even the military doesn't shoot full on. You're supposed to have one kill, one shot, right? But I don't know. I mean, it's a whole other topic too. I mean, they're fun. You could talk about home defense too. I mean, that's kind of like compounded on that question. When I talk about home defense for a firearm, it could be anything, whatever you have. I mean, if you have a pistol, there's a lot of arguments of over-penetration of a bullet. You're responsible for that bullet going from the muzzle of your gun past whoever you're shooting, past the wall to your neighbor's house. You're responsible for it, even if you don't.
Right.
So a lot of arguments and studies have been shown that actually the best firearm for that is an AR-15. Not because of its stopping power or anything like that, but because the bullet, once it hits a small resistance anywhere, like a wall or trees, it tends to tumble the bullet and it loses velocity and it won't over penetrate so much. I personally have a gun for home defense because it's the smallest thing I can hide in a smaller safe, so my son can't grab it. It has a flashlight on it. I don't ever dream about a scenario where I'm going to shoot somebody. My plan is close the door, call 911, and lock myself in my bedroom.
Right.
So I don't get shot by the police or I don't get attacked by the intruder. And if somebody breaks up that door, then yeah, they're going to say hello to the little friend.
How about
earlier? You know.
Oh man,
I have tourniquets. I've trained in first aid as well.
You're a Boy Scout. You have to have. You have to. I mean, shit. If I'm not mistaken, you're a goddamn Eagle Scout, right? Like you made it.
I made it.
Eagle Scout. Damn.
Yeah, dude. Like that's like real shit. Like that's not stuff that you just you're like, oh yeah, I kind of dabbled in it. Nah, right? You really have to be dedicated to be able to get to Eagle Scout level. Let me just tell you, I was a Boy Scout, and I wasn't a Boy Scout for very long. It didn't really work out for me in Boy Scout world. It just didn't. There were a lot of financial things that we needed to do that my family was not prepared to to cough up front for me to do all of those things. But
us in my neighborhood, Boy Scouts were just in the movies.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
where'd you grow up?
I grew up right here, Southgate, adjacent Huntington Park in South Central.
I grew
that
up.
Goes double for us.
I was in the Boy Scouts there. My troop is from Southgate. I grew up in Southgate.
Southgate Park, 100%.
Yeah. If I cross the street where the neighborhood where I grew up, it's Huntington Park. If I cross, we'll say that westbound, that's South Central. And the way it's set up, it's just like, and you know how it is, coming from a low-income family, but it has nothing to do with it.
I got
it. I would have wished I would have learned half the stuff that you learned at the Boy Scouts. That seems amazing. Now, as an adult, that shit seems fucking amazing. Oh, yeah. You do the medical training, so on and so forth, the tourniquet training, badass.
Well, see, the tourniquet training, I had to take that. So there's a TCCC course, so tactical combat casualty care. You can get it pretty much anywhere that does medical training.
Nice.
And learn how to apply for gunshot wounds, severed limbs, stab wounds, apply tourniquets and pressure.
We're actually doing at my work. We're actually doing a safety meeting, and it involves tourniquets. So that's interesting that you bring that up right now because that's absolutely something that I'm going to be. I don't know if I don't want to say officially trained on, but we are going to have a work safety meeting on those kind of things. We did have somebody have an accident recently where they cut several of their fingers with a box cutter, like on the front side. The guy cannot grip at the moment, unfortunately. He's been out of work for probably 2 months now because he just cannot grip. He's probably got some nerve damage, which is very, very, very unfortunate. But yeah, no, we're gonna do a
on a side note
seminar on that.
How did he cut all his fingers with the box cutter?
So he did. There's a couple things that he did wrong. Number one, he didn't put what he was trying to cut down on a table. He was trying to cut it while holding it in his hands. Big no-no. Big no-no. The other thing is instead of cutting away from him, he was cutting towards himself, and then eventually ran that blade. Just right across all 4 fingers. So just all kinds of bad. Just everything that is in our safety training that we tell you not to do, he did. So everything that we have said don't do, he has done.
Dude,
and it was unfortunate.
He did that with a box cutter. Imagine if he had a gun.
So I think you guys have answered my question in regards to, I did have a question prepared about, if there's such a thing as, too high a caliber on weapon or ammunition for that matter. And I would like to ask, you Diego, do you think that there's a limit to what we should have, to what we could have? Is there a limit anywhere?
Well, here's the thing. I think you should be limited by what you know. There's obvious. If you have the ability to be able to use a higher caliber, faster or higher rapid fire caliber gun, then own it. If you don't, then don't. It's common sense. If you don't know how to use it, don't buy it. However, if you can and you do learn, buy it. Is there a limit on how much ammunition? No. Because at the end of the day, we go and we shoot off. We're gonna have to buy more. Buy as much ammunition as you can afford. It's your money. Do what you want with it. But as long as you're reasonable enough of what you can, if you know you can control the gun that you're buying, if you're able to use properly the tool that you are buying, buy it. It's your money. It's your life. Do what you want with it. Or no one to tell you what to or not to do. But as long as you're able to do it, do it. That's my take on that part. You know what I mean? If you know how to use it. Go ahead.
Hey, Eddie,
it's a vehicle, right? He said it's a car. If you can drive,
that's a really good point.
If you can drive a fucking Maserati at 180 fucking miles an hour, go for it. But if you can't, then don't do it. Because if you crash, you're liable.
Well, we can agree that there are a lot of people out there with money driving really fancy sports cars that have no fucking business driving those sports cars. Zero. Like, they shouldn't be behind the wheel of such a vast vehicle. And a lot of times, these are older folk that are driving these really fast cars. And I'm sorry, they just don't have the fucking reaction time that is necessary to drive such a full throttle vehicle. But no, thank you very much for that. Eddie, question.
What's up?
Let me ask you that question, bro. Is there a limit to what you think that we should have?
No, I think what Diego pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, within reason, it's cool because I'm much less educated than Angel probably is at weapons. Like, I don't even know what you can buy. I sound stupid. I'm being funny, obviously, but like a fucking flamethrower. I don't even know if that's possible. So like within reason, there shouldn't be a limit. Like, again, Diego hit the nail on the head. You can do it, then go ahead. You're not gonna go up and go post on everyone. Then go ahead. You're not gonna bug me. You're not gonna bug anybody else. And the law says it's cool. Then go for it.
All right. Well, let's go this route. Clearly, Eddie doesn't know anything about guns. I know very little, which is why you guys are here to enlighten us a little bit. Do you guys have any tips for first-time shooters, first-timers just trying to get themselves acclimated with a weapon? Diego, do you have any tips that you might want to, a particular type of gun that maybe we should use or something to ease us into it?
When it comes to shooting, obviously, we all have a friend that knows someone that knows something. If you don't have someone, reach out to some classes, get exposed. As long as you want to learn, there are people going to be willing to take your money and teach you, and or just teach you. Simple as that.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Someone's always going to be willing to teach you, show you the ins and outs, the basics. Now, if you want to go further down that rabbit hole and get more into it, you can. But just get someone that's going to show you the basics. Trigger control. How to understand that when you how to handle a firearm from the beginning. Make sure it's unloaded. Make sure there's nothing chambered. Just the basics. And go from there. Just get someone that's going to teach you that stuff and or reach out to someone that can take your money and teach you what you need to know.
And to add really quick, if you don't know anybody, you can go to the range. Any indoor range. There's one in Artesia, LA Gun Club in downtown LA.
I think I went to the one in Artesia.
Inside.
Tell them you've never fired a gun before. It's your first time. They usually take a little bit more time to show you what's going to happen. They might even take you into the range and just show you everything really quickly, briefly. LA Gun Club probably won't because they're very touristy. They're always busy, so probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But even their website says it.
Yeah,
right.
And Artesia is a good place. Mike, the owner, he's a good guy.
All right.
But my tip is for women shooters. If you're gonna have a guy take you shooting, don't let his machismo force you to shoot the biggest gun that he has there or the biggest gun they can rent. I would say start with something small. If you've never shot a gun before, shoot a 22, then move up, maybe a slightly bigger caliber, like a 38 special.
Okay.
Shotguns, I'd probably wait till you know how to hold a shotgun because they do hurt if you don't hold them correctly.
That recoil, right?
Yeah, AR-15s, they look big, they look scary, but they're actually a 22 caliber bullet with more powder behind it. So it's just going to be really loud noise. You just got to just hold it like you're holding a baby. But, beyond that, I mean,
I'm gonna be thinking about that when I hold my child tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna be holding her like.
Pew, pew.
Don't give anybody who's never shot a gun before the biggest gun you have for laughs. Like,
Right.
That can turn somebody off from wanting to shoot ever again.
Right. And let me ask you guys, what beverage of choice would you have me start with for my first time shooting? Should I have a margarita? Of course I'm joking. You really shouldn't. You should not be drinking if it's the first time you've ever shot a weapon. Don't do it. Wait until you're an experienced shooter. Wait until you're an experienced shooter before you can start tossing them back and hitting the desert.
And even then, dude, you have to respect what you're doing. People have
No, of course.
Hands down, be safe 150%. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Doesn't matter what level you are. Always treat the gun like if it's loaded until you know it's not. And even then, be precautious. You don't know how many times you've been in ranges that you see people get hurt for being stupid.
Right.
People fight people because they're drinking. They do this. Like, dude, put your fucking gun down. I'm gonna slap the shit out. It's just stuff you don't drink. Just don't. Just be safe. It's safe home.
So I obviously, clearly, 100% was joking, right? But here's the thing: is that I would imagine that shooting a firearm is exhilarating enough on its own, without having to, be coaxed by, alcohol or I don't know, whatever else anyone might be doing, any other sort of substance. But I get there are people, and I've seen it. I've seen people go out there, they get lit, and they're just pat, just firing off.
Just shot somebody at the
quinceañera. That's
the thing, though. Giorgio, let me ask you a question. When you go out to a tournament, you drink while you're shooting or after?
Diego.
Exactly.
This is Diego. I'll be asking the questions around here, sir.
Well, my question is this: because the thing, I've been at clandestine ranges in the middle of the desert where you see people that are knocking them back, and you want to take a couple more yards out of the way you're from them because they're stupid enough to flank you and shoot you by accident. You have to understand. You may have the best trigger disciplines, but if you're drinking, you're out there. A split second of you fucking up, you're done. You're putting a bullet in someone and you're liable for that. And it's just something that I'm very anal. People that I've invited to shoot that, again, I'm not at the expertise that Giorgio is, but the people I've invited, I'm like, dude, don't drink, understand what you're doing, pay attention what the fuck you're doing, and then after that, we'll go back and we'll knock some back. It's right now, enjoy it. But dude, it takes a split second.
When I go to the desert to shoot, we have a cooler full of beer. But nobody's touching it until we're all done shooting. Everything's put away. We got the tarp. We're just sitting down drinking.
Yeah,
nice. We, start eating some food, some carne asada.
There you go. That part.
Now that right there is responsible.
Stars.
Or camp out. You hate to see people do stupid shit like that because it makes you mad.
You just got to say something. And if you go to the desert, like you said, you go and you see people doing stupid stuff, drinking. The desert's a pretty big place, so you can drive off somewhere else.
Exactly. You drive a few yards out. You call it a day. You're done. You do you. If you shoot somebody, if you shoot yourself, if I can help you, if I cool, if I can't, then I'll call 911. That's it. Good luck for you. That's it. Hey, Darwin's law.
There it is. Survival of the fittest, right? Only the strong survive.
Stupid people die.
It's got to happen, right? Call the herd.
If you think you're going to get shot, what you can do is to build an immunity against gunfire is shoot yourself with a 22 bullet first. Go up to a bigger caliber.
I'm going to take that into consideration next time I get really lit.
but not until I learn how to tie a tourniquet. Okay.
I'm gonna call you. Listen, I'm gonna call you next time I'm really lit. Like, this is for you.
Hey Jojo, I'm gonna go to the range. Do you ever want to come with me?
No. I drive. Thank you. I drive.
Well, that's awesome. I think I'm ready to go shoot my, to go to the range for the first time. Eddie, you down to go with me, bro? We can just show up like virgins and teach us everything there is to know. What say you, man?
Let's take these guys with us. They look
Hey,
gentle.
I'll tell you what. Look, take a screenshot of this.
The
put a
range for these
Brazzer,
guys is
and we're
boring.
ready to go.
The range to these guys, the range is like so novice. Like they don't want to be there, bro. It's like playtime for them. It's like kindergarten, Like that's why I'm inviting you. You and I can go out there, and try it out. And then maybe if we're ready to play with the big boys, we'll call these guys over and have them take us to the desert.
I'm in, bro. I think I'm overdue.
Hey, we're gonna be in like that movie Casino, 500 yards out from the normal meeting place.
There you go. I will say this, guys. I'm a hell of a shot. I've only been once, but I'm pretty good. And I think that is why my brother-in-law has not invited me back.
That's why.
Two things I did when I was out there with him at the range and we went to go fire his guns. Two things I did. One, I smiled a lot, but I can't help it. That's just me. Like I smile pretty big all the time. That's one. The other thing is every shot I took, I was aiming for the head. All of them. I just was aiming for the head. I wasn't told not to. That's just what I did. So my mark, right? I killed the bastard. I really did. And I was happy about it. So that might be why he never brought me back.
Let's put some money down on that. Let's see who.
Woo! Let's go. I'm game.
Run the 24.
I'm game. So I will move the conversation towards, we were talking about gun laws and, I was surprised to find out right today that there's a cool off period. I also know that there's certain states, I do know this much, that there are certain states that are open carry, which would just pretty much allow you to take the gun wherever you could be wearing it. You can put it on the dash of your truck. You can just pretty much have it on your person at any time, any place, doesn't matter. It's like the wild, wild west, right? Do you guys think there's any benefit to having an open carry state? And I'll open up this one to Giorgio first, if you don't mind.
I think we should be a concealed carry state.
Okay.
Open carry.
Okay.
If I were to think like a bad guy, and I saw you with the gun and I was in a robber place, I'd probably shoot you first.
Ooh, good one.
But yes, if I saw you with the gun, but when you have a concealed carry, nobody ideally can tell that you have one.
Right.
Wherever you're going to carry it, a waistband, the zap carry. But concealed carry, I think, is the way to go. And I think it's beneficial. There's proven cases where people with guns have stopped it, whether they're off-duty police or civilians or, military on leave. They have stopped.
But just on Texas, what happened with the shooter that was at the church?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
It's a perfect example.
That's a great shot.
He was able to put the assailant down in 3 seconds from a shot from about X amount of yards. Dude.
Headshot at like 15, 20 yards.
Ooh, wow. Really?
So.
Now, let's put that in a more smaller scale level. Let's say, for example, you're in a liquor store, you're picking up something, they're being mugged, they put a gun in your head. You feel like a danger. You put that assailant down. It's the day-to-day opportunities of you being able to stop a crime or prevent somebody's life from being taken. It's there.
Right.
It's realistically there.
If they have a gun on your head or they point a gun out or you're getting mugged at gunpoint, there's no guarantee that you're not going to get shot.
So I can actually speak on that. That is one experience that I do have with guns. I have been mugged at gunpoint. That is something that happened to me. I was at what they call Sunken City in San Pedro.
Be there that
yeah.
night. Remember? I was supposed to
I
be
do.
There, and
you were. There you go. And you should be happy that you didn't go because there's a group of friends that we all went. And here's the funny thing about it. We're talking about, earlier, drunk people in the desert firing off guns. So it was 4th of July, I believe. I think it was 4th of July. And or Labor Day weekend. It was some sort of holiday. Anyway, we were at Sunken City. And, if you've ever been there, it's basically just kind of like this really fallen over part of San Pedro that kind of collapsed during earthquakes. And just there's just pieces of street there. There's concrete slabs. It just really looks crazy down there. Mega post-apocalyptic looking area. But anyway, people go there all the time, have fires out and, go drinking and whatnot. It's something to do when you're younger because you can't really go to a bar. You can't go anywhere like where that's worthy of drinking. So you go to these places where you can do that. Yeah, where you can get the booze. Somebody got them for you. And, and you go down there and you don't have to really worry about, cops coming by or anything like that. So that was kind of one of the cool things that, you would do as a teenager. Anyway, so we're there, we're hanging out, we're doing our thing. We've got our little fire going. And in the distance, we can hear someone firing off. Now, I don't know what they're firing. I have no idea what it is. Don't know what it looks like. All you can see is the little flash in the air, and you can hear it pop, 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 pop. So I don't think anything of it. Those guys are having fun. No problem. One person in our group, decided to mock those guys loudly. Oh, look at me. I'm fucking cool. I have a gun, blah, blah, blah. And started making fun of them. And we're like, dude, shut your fucking mouth. Like, you're making fun of a guy with a gun, you idiot. Like, shut up. Like, he already has an advantage. Shut your mouth. So we finally got the dude to pipe down. We all got over it. We moved on. Less than 10 minutes later, a group of guys comes walking over the bend, coming down. They've got bandanas over their faces. And they're like, hey, guys, hate to break the party up, but pocket check. And they pulled out guns. And right then and there, they started taking everybody's wallets and cell phones. Now, I saw those guys coming, and I had the smarts enough to take my phone and chuck it. Now, this is back in the days when we had, like, flip phones. Like, so it was fairly compact. It was pretty tiny. But, yeah, man, I took that thing. I chucked it. What I forgot was that I actually had rent money in my wallet.
Oy.
And I was about to get robbed for my rent money, bro. But the guys were going around guy by guy, like, hey, let me, phone. I was like, oh, I don't have a cell phone. They're like, what about your wallet? And I pulled my wallet out. Luckily for me, at that time was when debit cards or, bank cards, debit had just started really taking off. So I had a shitload of receipts in my wallet. So I pulled my receipts over the cash and I was like, I just got nothing but receipts. And he's like, all right, put it away. And he let me keep my wallet. I was one of like 10 people that were there that didn't get anything taken from me. They took car keys. They took everything. But to Giorgio's point, they didn't shoot anybody. They didn't kill anybody. No one was in real danger because these guys were not going to do that. They just flexed their muscle. And they said, give me what you have because you don't want none of this. And nobody even thought about fighting. And had anybody there had a weapon, that situation might have been a little different, right? Anyway, that's my experience with getting held up at gunpoint.
I've been in situations where, let's just say, fortunate enough to have a friend that had a CCW back then.
Okay.
We were in a situation where they actually pulled out, shot at us, and he was able to defend the rest of the friends that were there.
Wow.
But that was a very eye-opening experience. And that was
So you were actually shot at.
A few times.
Wow. Wow.
But this guy, he was able to, defend the friends that were there. And it was only like about 4 of us. But, you see, he was legally able to.
Okay.
And other friends weren't. So imagine if they would have done that and no one was able to respond. They would have kept shooting at the people that were there and they would have hit someone.
Wow.
Situation to think about. You think about hanging out. Say, for example, you're outside of your house, hanging out. Crackhead comes up, pulls out a knife. You know what's going on. It could happen. It's
Yeah.
happened. You know,
It's funny because you mentioned crackheads and I live in Long Beach, man. So like the entire city is like riddled with homeless people and people on drugs all the time. Just yesterday, I was driving. I'm just driving. I'm driving home. I'm driving home from work. I'm trying to get onto the freeway, and a random crackhead in the wild was running. You know what I mean? Like half dressed, just running across the on ramp, and I almost hit him. Like I was so close to hitting him. And I'm like, man, like I couldn't even I was gonna be upset, but how can I be really? I can't be upset, dude. This guy's on crack. This guy's obviously on drugs. I'm not even mad at him. I'm mad at the drugs. But
I heard that's 500 points in Grand Theft Auto.
That's terrible, man. Oh, that's terrible. That's absolutely awful. So I'll ask this question. You talked about a dangerous scenario where you were part of something where you had to, someone else had to protect you. Have you ever felt the pressure to protect anyone since being a gun owner? Has anything like that arisen in your experiences?
On a personal level, here at home, not to where I had to burnish a weapon.
Okay.
But I've had close encounters with transients in our property.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was over the top where, okay, I have to bring something out, something that happened. It's kind of like, all right, get the fuck out of here. You're done. Nothing to where it's gone to that extremities.
Okay. All right. Giorgio, how about yourself, sir?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Well, good deal. Good. I'm happy that you haven't been put in those types of situations. That's great. That's excellent.
But real quick, I got 2% left, so I might cut out at some point.
Okay.
Well, the good thing is that we've got about like 5 minutes left. So I mean, it's a good enough time as any. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Eddie, you've got anything that you want to ask these guys before they die?
I need addresses just in case this turns into some kind of zombie apocalypse.
Where's the rendezvous point?
Nah, man, no questions. Just besides saying thank you guys for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. We learned a lot, to be honest, and I don't
Dude.
learn every day. So
No, thank you very much. I have to second that. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I know that right now is really hard for a lot of people to take time out of their days and take time away from their families. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for coming out today. I really appreciate both of you. Yeah, I really hope to when this whole thing blows over and we are able to get out there, I am going to reach out. I'm going to go to the range first. But then once I'm good there, I'm gonna reach out and hopefully get out to a desert one day with one of you guys and shoot off some bigger weapons and see what all the hype is about. Of course, if that's all right, if you'll have me,
Oh, you're more than welcome to, brother.
Showcase some discipline, right?
Be fun.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what. I propose one better. Once this is all over, we all hook up and we do a follow-up video at the range. Insight, Artesia. I'm one. Hey,
I like that.
Y'all hang out. We all go shoot, and we all go drop off our guns and go drink.
I'm game.
I am more than willing to.
You heard it here.
I'm all about a good time. I am all about socializing.
Yes.
Social distancing. Let's do it.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. We're gonna go ahead and have a layman's word shootout, and then we're gonna have a layman's word shootout follow-up episode, and then we're all gonna get obliterated at a bar. Sounds great. Sounds great. Once again, thank you to our guests for coming in, Giorgio and Diego. Thank you to my wonderful co-host Eddie for holding it down. Really appreciate everybody that came on today. Thank you to our super producer Chuy for putting this show on for us and doing everything that he's doing. Chicka Chuy. We are Layman's Word, where we come on and we talk about things that we absolutely know nothing about. And we all learned a little something today, I think. So thank you very much for that. For all of you at home dealing with quarantine, just remember, you don't have to get to the bottom of the bottle. You just have to get enough to get you a little buzzed. All right? Slow down, everybody. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's all about longevity. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out, yo. We're going to be all right.
Peace out, everybody.